Hey, what's going on everybody? It's DJ Sketch and welcome back to the channel, and also happy holidays to you and yours. Today, I guess you can tell by the title, we're going to go through the top 5, at least in my opinion, games of 2019, and it's going to be a varied list. Again, these are all just my opinion, so we can agree to disagree, or if you want to talk about it down in the comments, I would very much advise you do so, because that would be awesome to have a discourse about any or all of these games if you want to have a little chat about these. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to do these top 5, the best here, and I'm going to put out a list of I tried to find 5 games that were bad out of this year, which I'm sure there are probably several, even like major releases, but I can only come up with 4 that I can actually speak of, since I only played 4 real bad games that I can think of. But enough about that, we'll get to that at a later date. But let's get on to the good stuff and the cream of the crop, as far as I'm concerned, about 2019. So if you've been following the channel for a little while, you know that fighting games were basically a mainstay on the channel for a very long time, up until about a year and a half ago, which the fighting game coverage slowed down. Not by choice, it's just kind of how the cards played out there. But let's go ahead and kick it off with my favorite fighting game of the year, Samurai Shodown, number 5. This was the long-awaited return of the franchise and a more or less soft reboot of the franchise as a whole, including a greatest hits roster from SamSho 1 through 6, running on the Unreal Engine alongside games like Tekken 7 and Soul Calibur 6. Is definitely a looker in the realm of recent fighting game releases. This entry also retains all the sensibilities of the former titles, as long as movesets that cover the entire history of the series as a whole, and also it's an absolute blast to play. Pretty much everything about this game, they basically nailed it. SNK pretty much knocked that out of the park with this one. SNK, I wish they would do more multiplats, especially with like all of their IPs, because King of Fighters, the newest one, Xbox didn't get that. Also, by the way, it's going to be also a completely Xbox One list, because I don't have the PS4, but eventually, I'm going to get to it soon. I know they're about to drop in price, so I'm going to get those very soon. But considering all the SNK IPs that were released, I'm stoked that we at least got this one. SNK Heroines and the King of Fighters, just to name a few, would have been tight to also get on Xbox, but hey, who's counting? I know it's a little bit of banter, but even still, this was a blast to play through. Honestly, I'm stoked that they did what they did with this franchise as they have. I really can't say enough good things about Samurai Shodown. This one was honestly, this was the gas to play. Honestly, this was like this was hands down my favorite fighting game of 2019. And you know, honestly, I'm hoping that this, with the success that it has, I know this one was actually like, people didn't sleep on this one. When it's all SamSho coming out, people were about that flavor. So hopefully this can lead to other franchises being rebooted. Maybe Art of Fighting, that'd be tight. You know, that'd be super tight. Or I don't know, maybe Breakers, Double Dragon soft reboot maybe, or Double Dragon HD remaster. That'd be mint. I'm just saying. And we're gonna get right into number 4. Number 4. This one's actually an interesting one, considering it's the 3rd of a long-running franchise that's been going on for a while. Of course, I'm talking about Borderlands 3. This one, honestly, kind of funny enough, was up against some heavy opposition, thanks to the CEO of the company of Gearbox, Randy Pitchford, with his incident at Medieval Times restaurant concerning a certain thumb drive that had some questionable content on it, and also the semi-firing, or I'm not sure really how this all went down, but there were some issues between him, I guess Pitchford himself, and some voice actors that were very prominent in the Borderlands franchise, which led to them not being involved with the project, which is honestly a bummer. Pitchford, I don't know what you were doing, but at the same time, I'm glad you kept your hands out of this project for the most part. We're not going to talk about that though. The thing is, this game, aside from all the stuff that was working against it, especially in the beginning, it definitely rose against the opposition, and also it came through with a very solid game that was very legit. And also this game was a lot of fun to play. Yes, was there some schlock? Just a little bit, but still at the same time, it was a solid entry nonetheless. Luckily, there weren't any time savers or any other like really heavy microtransactions that were involved with the game, which is the main thing that I was worried about when I saw this coming out, because the 2K games and also like pretty much all these sports titles from 2K, they were all pretty busted, to be completely honest with you. But at least with this, like their flagship franchise with Gearbox and 2K, arguably, we got a very solid game that was legit, and also it was a very solid game that also with its narrative had a lot of twists and turns throughout the narrative, and also a very heavy dose of social commentary, and also a lot of pop culture references which span the decades of television, movies, so on and so forth. Also, of course, lots of guns, and also other fun weapons to decimate all that follow the Calypso twins. And with the DLC releasing soon, the Malawan DLC is close to being out, fairly close. There's a Moxie DLC that's out right now, and also that looks fire, so I want to check that out very, very soon if I can help it. And also with the release of future DLCs and everything else is going to be coming out soon. Also that Game of the Year edition, if you watched my previous review on the video, you guys know that's going to be coming up sometime next year. So if you want to wait to cop the DLC and get all of its entirety with the full game, that might be the move. But even still, at the same time, everything that was in the base package of Borderlands 3 so far is honestly pretty sick. And honestly, this was kind of that gas as far as the Wasteland shooter, because there were 3 prolific ones. 2 of them were kind of duds, and this one I was very happy to see it wasn't. And also with running the new Mayhem modes, I know that they upped it to Mayhem 4, so this one I'm also going to be going back to. I finished the operative runs, or I finished a couple of runs with this already, but this is the one I'm going to be coming back to. And also, the thing is, like, there's a couple drawbacks with this one, like, not every joke was a home run, and also the graphical stutter, that was a little bit of a hit, but still, at the same time, it was still fun to play through. So this one, I can't knock it really very much at all, aside from just, like, a couple really small technical things, and also just, like, not every joke. I mean, it's all dad jokes, for the most part. But still, at the same time, this one, it was killing it, dude. Honestly, this was honestly one of my favorite things to play through this year. So, Vault Hunters, mount up. The ship's leaving, man. Or the bus is leaving, better said. And we're going to go right into number 3. And I'll see an unexpected entry, this one. And I'm talking about the Outer Worlds. This is Obsidian's newest IP. And also, it's a very nice surprise, considering at first I did not realize this was a good chunk of the development team from Fallout New Vegas. And upon starting this, the resemblance was pretty uncanny, I cannot front with you. And also, playing through this one, I honestly got the satisfaction of playing through Fallout 3 for the first time again, and also just straight up being awestruck with everything that it was doing, and it does just about all of it right. The combat, even though like parts of it feel a bit stilted, it was a nice change of pace compared to other console shooters on the market that I've been playing through at length this year. I'm sure if you've been following the channel, you've probably seen me struggle through some of these, but at the same time, this was fantastic change of pace, and also just the way that you actually had a very solid choose your own adventure through the Halcyon system, and where you're going to meet a lot of people, you're going to see a lot of things, and most importantly, you're going to waste a lot of outlandish creatures and marauders and everything else you can think of. Like, this game was honestly, this was also like surprisingly that gas, dude. And also, this game also pays a very, very healthy dose of homages to other similar games like System Shock. Honestly, like once you board the Unreliable, the System Shock references will be very, very clear. And also past Fallout games in the series as well. And also, this was just in general a great game to pass the time with. Like, the freedom of choice that it offers is what made it really interesting for me. And also the writing and everything with this game, as far as like the story itself, was honestly pretty tight. I know this one's kind of a contrasting opinion with this one, because I know some people really didn't like this game at all and other people loved it. I was in the camp that was honestly people that were down for this game, and honestly I enjoyed it a lot. And honestly, this was honestly one of my favorite games to play this year. Very much looking forward to future expansions with Outer Worlds, because I want to see, like, with all this, like, just besides on what they have, the base game, I want to see what they're going to have later on with this one, because honestly, I'm interested. I'm very interested. And alright guys, we're going into number 2, and soon to be number 1. So, number 2, this honestly should not be a surprise to anyone. It is the Resident Evil 2 remake. I know, a remake, right? Of the 1998 classic Resident Evil 2. But you know what I didn't expect for this one? I didn't think it was actually gonna be as good as it was, because basically they took the Resident Evil 2 formula and they modernized it but it didn't lose any of the charm from the original, nor the pacing from the original either. Just about every scene that was in the original Resident Evil 2 is all present with a fresh coat of paint and extras that remain intact, including the tofu section and the hunk section. That's all there. This was an early release in 2019, but also it implied, if this one did well with the Resident Evil 2 remake, that Resident Evil 3 Nemesis will be shortly behind that, which we now know has been confirmed, which is also fucking sick, dude. Honestly, I can't wait to play through Nemesis again, because even playing that, I just played that for the first time maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, and that game stuck with me, man. Like, the game was awesome. And also it was cool to see that, also, like, while developing Resident Evil 2, they were developing Resident Evil 3 simultaneously along with it, saying like, oh, maybe if it does well, we'll go ahead and we'll consider releasing the third one. But of course, like, Resident Evil 2 like bammed out, so of course that was gonna happen, of course. And the cool thing is that Resident Evil 3 Nemesis is going to be out in March 2020, and I'm beyond gassed for this one. There's really not much about this one that I didn't mention in the past review, but at the same time, I stick by this, saying that this was hands down one of my favorite games of the year. This honestly might lead to a marathon of me streaming the original trilogy and the remakes as well. As far as the GameCube version, because that's the one that I have, but I know there is a Xbox and PS4 re-release or HD remaster of the remake. Yeah, try saying that 3 times fast. At the same time, we're gonna be doing some cool stuff with Resident Evil, because that's gonna be a big one. Actually, that first quarter of next year, 2020, or the next decade rather, is gonna be huge. So there's gonna be a lot of really good stuff to play. And also, if you haven't played this yet, I really don't know what you're waiting for, because this is one that is not going to disappoint. And also, just for the sake of saying it, also the X Gon Give It To You memes, those will never not be hilarious. Finally, with our number one. This one is honestly, like, this was one that I was extremely gassed on playing. So, this one, the indie darling, number one, my favorite, possibly favorite Contra clone ever, Blazing Chrome. This one was by far the biggest surprise of the year to me that hit Xbox, along with a lot of other platforms. I kind of wish, like, these people from Joy Masher, I wish they had the licensing to do the newest Contra game, Rogue Corps, because that game was a hot pile of ass. This game was not. This was anything but that. For Contra and Metal Slug fans and any other run and gun shooter that you can think of, this was the juice as far as run and gun games are concerned in recent memory. Joy Masher absolutely nailed it with this one, with an ultra slick and ultra tough homage to the run and gun genre. The difficulty is up there with Contra 3, Alien Wars, not regular mode but hard mode, and Contra Hardcore, which is also extremely tough one in the Contra franchise. But this one will keep you wanting to get to the next stage and see what it's going to throw at you next. The retro arcade and home experience is fully transmitted into a fantastic way to kill an hour or two, probably more, considering how long it takes for you to kind of like get a grips on as to what is going on. And also, if you can catch all the references that it throws at you throughout the game, because there's a lot of nods to a lot of Konami franchises, a lot of SNK franchises, pretty much all of it is there. And if you catch it, you catch it, but if not, it's one of those things you'll catch up with it and see it later on and be like, I see what you did there. And also, that crew at Joy Masher, like, you can tell they really had a good time developing this game. They made it the best they absolutely could, and it shows through and through. Like, this one, like, when you catch the references, it'll make you smile and just revel in how solid this retro style shooter is. Man, if only Contra Rogue Corps could have been even slightly, like, a fraction as good as this. Like, you know, maybe Konami should just hire on Joy Masher to do Contra games from this point forward. Needless to say, like, I'm hoping with the success of this game this year, because a lot of people slept on this one, but a lot of people didn't. And also everybody that did play it, like, pretty much all had nothing but good things to say about it. So I'm hoping this will lead to a Blazing Chrome 2, because that would be fantastic. And I will be the first one to play that if it does come through and like they actually get the green light to do that, which I'm hoping they will. That'll be just another one of those games to watch, because honestly the whole resurgence of the retro scene is like it's getting out there now. It's getting out there. But I know this is a slightly longer video than usual, and if you stuck around this long, I absolutely appreciate you sticking around and hanging out for this one. And again, happy holidays, guys. And if you want to check out the top 4 worst games, those will be out shortly before New Year's. So if you're down with that, stay tuned, and there'll be some other content coming to the channel relatively soon. Once again, thank you for checking out the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take it easy.